Welcome to Rhythm of Grace, where we live one moment, step, and day at a time, learning how to establish biblical rhythms in our lives. My name is Michelle, and I'm glad you're here. While you're here, please hit that subscribe button and click the notification bell so you can be made aware of new content when it comes on my channel. Today is day 36 in the R1017 study. Now, before we get into today's narrative, I have a word for today. Today's word is God is providing no matter what it looks like. Surrender to trust Him. You may not have the breakthrough yet. You may be praying for provision, but until that provision comes, stand in faith that God is the one who provides. All right, we are in Matthew chapter 6, verse 11 today, and this is within the Sermon on the Mount, and it is a part of the Lord's Prayer. So the verse today is, "Give us today our daily bread." This verse is an understanding that God is our provider. And when we go to pray, we need to acknowledge that God is our provider. Now, as we walk with Him, He provides for us in a couple of ways. Number one, He provides our physical needs. Now, we see this reflected in Matthew chapter 6, verses 29 and 30. And it says, "Yet I tell you, even Solomon in all of his glory was not arrayed like one of these. But if God so clothes the grass of the field, which today is alive and tomorrow is thrown into the oven, will He not much more clothe you, O you of little faith?" God is the God of the physical provision. He provides. Now, when we don't see that provision, we can easily jump into being in the category of having little faith. It's easy to jump into anxiety and start thinking worst case scenarios when we do not believe that we are going to have our physical needs provided. No matter what it looks like, we need to not jump into anxiety and doubt, but we need to trust that our God is the God who provides. God provides in another way. He provides us His word. His word is the most important thing we have. We're called to store it in our heart. We're called to memorize it. We're called to live by it. And a life surrendered to God is a life that's obeying the word and really showing the love of Christ, because it's, if you love me, you will obey my commands, which His commands are His word. His word is what He has provided us. Now, the disciples in this narrative I'm going to read here in John 6, verses 67 and 68 show that they recognize the importance of the words of Christ. Christ here, right before this, has taught a really hard teaching, and a lot of people left, but the disciples were left there, and you see their response on how they value the words of Christ. And it says, "Do you not want to leave too, do you?" Jesus asked the 12. Simon Peter answered him, "Lord, to whom shall we go? You have the words of eternal life." Peter recognized the importance of Jesus's words, and no matter how hard it was going to get, that he was going to stick right with the one who had the words of eternal life. Between the God giving us physical provision and the provision of His word, He has given us everything that we need. And not just that, He didn't just give us His word, He gave us His life. He gave us salvation. He gave us the ability to be healed and free and with Him for eternity because of the sacrifice He made on Calvary. We need to remember, when life gets hard, when things fall through, when we don't see the provision, that He is our provider. It's incredibly easy, again, to jump into anxiety and fear and thinking of all the worst case scenarios, but we are not called to be of little faith. We are called to a life of faith, trusting that our God does not change. If He was a provider then, He is a provider now. Now, I will say God will lead us through seasons that He'll allow us to experience what we would think as lack and let us go over and not have everything we wish we did. When you don't have the provision in the moment, that is not a time to have anxiety and start doubting who God is and step into faithlessness. that is a time to exercise your faith and stand on what you say you believe and say, Lord, I don't have everything in front of me. I can't see how this is going to work out, but because you are the God who provides, I'm going to trust that you are going to bring exactly what is needed in the correct timing. And this narrative is quite timely because my husband's furloughed right now as the date of this recording. He's part of the government shutdown, and things have been a little upended for us. And then my husband is also retiring from 25 years in the military. His name is Daniel Faust. He's done 25 years in the Air Force. He spent 12 years active duty, and the rest of it has been reserve time. And we are in this crazy transition, and it is real hazy on where we're going to land and what jobs are going to come through that are going to be what God is going to use to provide for my family. I know other families right now that are also in transitions, going from one status to another, and it's a scary time. It can be feel very unstable, and it can feel very just prone to anxiety in this because we can't see how things are going to be provided. But through it all, God is our provider. The government's not our provider. My husband's jobs aren't our provider. In the big picture, the Lord is the one who is bringing the provision. My encouragement to you today is that if you're sitting in instability, maybe you're furloughed too. Maybe you've lost your job. Maybe you've had a severe something happen with your finances, and you're asking God, where is the provision? I encourage you to trust him and surrender to him and just stand on the fact that he is going to provide for you. So that is what I have for you today here on Rhythm of Grace. I will be back tomorrow for another episode, but until then, we live by the rhythm of grace, one surrendered minute, hour, and day at a time. Everybody, be blessed.